started off as a PG podcast, but then Devin just kept on dropping shits and fucks, and
I'm just trying to figure out what's in her mouth.
I just want to see him interview Francesco Accoli.
No, he's a good human being, is what he would say about himself, I'm sure.
Who's hosting this thing?
Take charge, Kevin, would you? Jesus.
First time we ever met those guys. That was the major drunken pub argument.
I think you guys are the worst.
I'm gonna have to probably watch some Canucks hockey, unfortunately.
Just making friends left, right, and center, and probably some enemies as well.
Tell him to shut up. He needs to hear that every once in a while.
Off to a good start.
All right. We are live.
It's okay to talk when it goes live.
Well, it sure is. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Hockey Podcast. We are live, of course, Facebook.com, The Hockey Podcast, YouTube.com, The Hockey Podcast, where we are still currently at Connor Mackey's 100 and Connor Mackey of subscribers. Or if you're a Canucks fan, Jack Rathbone. You can also subscribe on subscribe on YouTube, like us on Facebook, and then subscribe to the audio as which you can do as soon as this is done. I am flying solo today, so bear with me as I go through this. If you have any comments or questions, we will hear from you. Would love to hear from you. Like Justin Credible has already said, go Jets. The Winnipeg Jets pull off the 1-0 overtime victory on a goal by Paul Stastny. I know that 0-0 games are not considered awesome games sometimes, but this was not one of them. This was an outstanding game. Lots of hits, lots of great chances on both ends. I think it's kudos to both Connor Hellebuck and Mike Smith for outstanding goaltending. So kudos for that. Outstanding play on both ends. It was not, if both teams went after it. And then in the overtime, it went after it again. It went after it harder. And Paul Stastny was able to pick the corner and score. And so this put the Winnipeg Jets up 2-0. I think very few of us would have thought that there would have been a 2-0 lead. I don't even think Devin, who's not here with us, would have thought that we would have had a 2-0 series lead for the Winnipeg Jets at this particular point in time. But this is where we are at. And I think the Jets are full marks for this. All that being said, who would have thought? How many of you, raise your hand, and if you are out there, if you had Tucker Poolman as your leading scorer in this series. He is the leading scorer of this series. 1 goal yesterday in game 1, the assist on the winning goal game 2. It is those type of guys that have been getting the job done, the no-namers, those bottom edgers. And I think the first thing I want to do is I think that there deserves to be some kudos to the maligned, underappreciated, not liked, discredited Winnipeg Jets 6D. There has been a lot of people that have said, we've even had guests on this podcast, and we've talked about the Winnipeg Jets that have had concerns about their defense. We've expressed even on this podcast concerns about their defense, but Derek Forbort, Dylan DeMello, Josh Morrissey, Neil Pionk, who I'm going to say it right now, he is better than Rasmus Anderson. And all those guys, Logan Stanley, Tucker Poolman, were just fun, did such a great job. Derek Forbort tonight made 2 really big stick plays. His stick was all over the place on Connor McDavid. Just very simple. Dylan DeMello with the incredible block on the Oilers power play in the 3rd period. McDavid had that great opportunity, and Dylan DeMello made that save. But he did also some really good things. Logan Stanley was a monster. Tucker Poolman with the assist. Neil Pionk, Josh Morrissey. Neil Pionk making that trade, looking very good for the Winnipeg Jets. This series has not been about the top stars. Because I mean, as much as we're going to say that Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl do not have any points, neither does Mark Scheifele, neither does Blake Wheeler. So it's not about the top stars in this. I mean, the top stars are not producing either way. I think it's been a hard series that way, and I think that's been the Jets' bottom six and the bottom half of that roster with the Winnipeg Jets, the depth guys that have been able to get it done a little bit better than the Oilers' depth guys. That's been just plain and simple the difference in this series. As we go through the stats here, as I've just pulled that up, as we go here, 50. The Oilers actually won the faceoff battle this time, 57% to 43%. 0 for 3, the Oilers were on the power play. Jets 0 for 2, not a lot of penalties. 52 to 37 were the hits. Blocks 22 to 15 were in favor of the Jets. And then we have to go to also the bottom six. Andrew Kopp was I thought outstanding. 4 shots, 2 hits, 1 block in 18 minutes ice time. He was also assisted on the winning goal. Pierre-Luc Dubois, 4 hits. Adam Lowry, 4 shots on goal, 3 hits. He was all over the place. Dominic Tonnato, not Dominic Toretto, 3 hits. Mason Appleton, 3 shots on goal. Trevor Lewis, 7 hits. That bottom 6 forward group just was something. Kyle Connor also was outstanding. I thought for the Jets, 7 shots on goal, 21 minutes of ice time. Matthew Perreault was a pest as well. Looking at the Winnipeg defense, Derek Forbort, 5 shot hits, 2 blocks, 1 shot on goal, 23 minutes. Dylan DeMello, 3 hits, 2 blocks, 20 minutes. Neil Pionk, 2 shots on goal, 2 hits, 22 minutes. Morrissey, 5 hits. Logan Stanley, 14 minutes, 3 shots on goal, plus a penalty and 1 giveaway. And what can you say about Connor Hellebuyck as well? I mean, he's one of the best goalies in the NHL, if not the best goalie in the NHL, and he has stepped and risen to the occasion for the Winnipeg Jets. So you've got to give him credit here, and going back to Winnipeg with a 2-0 series lead. It's not with fans, which is, again, we've discussed this. It's disappointing in that sense. But if you're for the Winnipeg Jets, you've got to be feeling really good at this point with a 2-0 series lead. That being said, this is not on Mike Smith as much as, he had his adventures in some ways getting out of the net, but I thought he played very well tonight. 31 to 32. Darnell Nurse was outstanding tonight. 6 shots on goal, 3 blocks, 2 hits. I think he's taking there's some steps there. I thought Ethan Bear was pretty good as well. I thought like Slater Cuckoo as well. But it's that bottom forward group that seems to be, to me, that's been the difference. Josh Archibald, 1 shot on goal. Dominic Cahoon, no shots on goal. What do we have here? Ryan McLeod, 9 minutes. I don't know why they're not. Someone has to explain to me from the Oilers side why they're not playing Ryan McLeod more. 9 minutes and 3 seconds. It's not like McDavid and Draisaitl didn't have chances. 5 shots on goal for McDavid, 4 shots on goal for Draisaitl. McDavid was engaged. I thought McDavid played very well, just didn't get the chances. They need more from the Kyler Yamamotos, the Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, the Zach Cassians, who it was McLeod and Cassian and Cahoon that were on the ice, by the way, for that final goal offensively, as they were a -1. But they need more from some of these. Alex Chiasson, 1 shot on goal. Their bottom, the difference has been the bottom group of the Winnipeg Jets is outplaying the bottom group of the Edmonton Oilers, and that's we didn't give the Winnipeg Jets enough credit for that, but outstanding work from the Winnipeg Jets on that so far. Jesse Pujärvi, I think, has played pretty well too. 5 shots on goal, 1 hit, 1 block, 22 minutes. So the Winnipeg Jets have a 2-0 series lead heading back to Winnipeg. That's back-to-back on Sunday and Monday. And if you're Winnipeg, I mean, it must win. Obviously, Game 3 is a must-win game for the Oilers. Obviously, that goes without saying. You don't want to go back down 3-0. But kudos to the Winnipeg Jets at this particular point. There's going to be some complaints. I'm sure I saw Oilers Twitter complain about the officiating. I just will say that I think both sides, there were missed calls on both sides. Ryan Rashad pointed out a tweet of a missed holding call. There was a Darnell Nurse high sticking call that was also missed. So I don't think that this is about the refs. This is depth versus depth, and the Winnipeg Jets are showing that advantage. And it's not that you're going to shut down. Nobody is expecting Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl to be pointless in this series. But it's not about that. The Oilers' depth guys need to step up. That is quite simply what needs to happen here. I don't think anyone would have thought that the Edmonton Oilers would come out of this series with 1 goal. The Winnipeg Jets, other than have 6. The Edmonton Oilers 1 goal. I don't think that was expected. So we go through that here. So yeah, as I said, no Devin, no one else here. So just my quick synopsis, just to get that out there. Just go through some other quick things here because some other things. The Nashville Predators double overtime. Matt Duchene in a must-win game, wins in overtime. Rod Brind'Amour had some interesting things to say about the officiating during that game, which I think will cause some disturbance. But Brett Pesce in that game certainly was 40 minutes and 35 seconds that was pointed out. So kudos to him, but kudos to the Nashville Predators as they got a huge win, double overtime win there from Matt Duchene. So kudos to him. I'm just pulling up here the tweet from Sarah Siv here, and I will just share this with you as we do this. Give me a quick moment. And there you'll see it there. I'll just add full screen so you can see that a little bit better. Rod Brind'Amour, we played great. We played hard. We're playing a great team. And to me, we're also fighting the refs. That's plain and simple. You can't tell me 2 games in a row they get 7 or 8 penalties and we get 3 when the game is even. It's not right. I'm sure that will raise some eyebrows as well and create semantics there. So I'm sure that's going to create a conversation when Rod the Bod speaks. I mean, he didn't have to really do. He probably didn't even need to do the ref rant. Just take off your shirt, Rod, and flex. We all know that if you take off your shirt and flex, everything will be fine. Maybe I'm just kidding, but big win for the Nashville Predators. That's been a fun series to watch. The other one, Boston Bruins, are now up 3-1 on the Washington Capitals. Tuukka Rask, the much maligned Tuukka Rask, in some cases in Boston, unfortunately, is now the playoff franchise leader in wins, I want to say. It was a significant win. But Brad Marchand got his 3rd goal and 4-1. And in a series, quite frankly, that the Washington Capitals should be up 3-1 themselves. They've blown a couple of leads. The Boston Bruins are the ones with the 3-1 series lead, even though Washington won the first game. So that's having elimination. And the Colorado Avalanche with a 5-1 win. Ryan Graves, it was a great night for the Maritime folks. Ryan Graves and Alex Newhook scored. And I don't think that's been much a surprise that the Colorado Avalanche are up 3-0. I think that looked like a bit of a mismatch to me. And it looks like the Colorado Avalanche are on the way to there. By the way, here's something interesting. The Washington Capitals have not won a series since they won the Stanley Cup. So that's something fascinating there. I'm sure that there will be more heat on Ovechkin. But where's Tom Wilson? Where is Tom Wilson, this guy that is supposed to be this impact player for the Washington Capitals that everyone says that you want to have on your team? Yeah, he's got a couple points, but he's been non-existent. Very dumb play, by the way, by Dmitry Orlov. There's been a lot of other issues in Washington other than Alex Ovechkin. So it's going to probably be an interesting offseason in Washington there as well. But back to Boston. Here, give them credit as well with their 3-1 series victory, and they're on their they are in elimination mode. So 2 series have a 3. Next game faces elimination there, and so that will be interesting as well. Speaking of the Avalanche, Nazem Kadri received an 8-game suspension tonight for his hit on Justin Falk, and I don't think that I have no issues with Nazem Kadri being suspended that long. I have an issue with NHL player safety again, and it's this inconsistency, and it's a spin the wheel on the wheel of justice. So happened again. Why is Nazem Kadri getting this and others aren't? And I think that's something that we'll probably dig into more as the weekend goes on. But just to me, it's again that perception of the inconsistency there of the officiating, or not. Well, even the inconsistency of the officiating for sure, but also the inconsistency in terms of what they delve out for suspensions. But Kadri. Probably, if they get to they should get to the second round. So depending on how that goes, it could be he missed 1 round. We'll see how that works out. Vancouver, Travis Green, with the extension of 2 years was officially announced today. Jim Benning spoke to the media. It went about as well as what Jim Benning speaks. He did say that there's going to be some buyout options. They are talking with Ian Clark. They are going to talk with the assistant coaches, see if they're going to come back. So again, there's going to be a lot of questions with the Vancouver Canucks of what happens in the off season. And I think a lot of this there's a lot of reports of this, that, and the other thing. Which is fair, and I'm not saying that there's anything there, but I think through the noise, I want to wait and see what actually happens before we have all this speculation. I think, obviously, the right thing to do for the Vancouver Canucks was to get Travis Green back, and I think that's a great move for the Canucks. I think he's the right coach for them at this particular point in time, but they do have a lot of work to do in terms of getting that roster better. And I mean, you look right now at the Winnipeg Jets as an example, and you look at what they're doing, and I'm just using one team as an example, the importance of that bottom 6 forward group and how you pay. I mean, they're the only one making over $1 million of that bottom 6 forward group is Mason Appleton. Matthew Perreault, I think, is the only one not Mason Appleton. Matthew Perreault is the only one making over $1 million. And all of that conversation with the bottom 6 with the Vancouver Canucks and how much they paid. It's important to have leadership. Nobody's disputing that, but it's certainly Vancouver paid a hefty price for it. So that's something I think they have to look at next year. And again, I think that's something we'll talk about as the podcast goes on when Sean and Tyler and Chris or Devin are back. And as well, also, John Tavares was released from hospital today. So that's good news. He put out a statement. I'll see if I could just pull that up here. He wrote a statement on Twitter, but he is out indefinitely. That was announced. And I'm just gonna pull up this here if I can find it. Did anyone see the headlines from the Toronto Sun and Montreal newspaper? Corny, cheesy, inappropriate lines there, but it's another thing, just to go back on that as I'm looking for that here. How come nobody's talking about Ben Sherrod? He was the actual one that did the hit. not sure why no one, if we're going to go with this fighting in hockey, if there's a necessary for a fight, I don't know why Ben Sherratt didn't need to fight. That is one of the things I'm curious about there as well. But Tavares did thank the fans for their support, and I have it here, so give me a moment as I pull this up here. Thanks for your patience. And there we go. The support I felt since last night cannot be put into words. I'm thankful to share that I'm back home and recovering. Thank you to my family, friends, teammates, the Maple Leafs organization, Leafs Nations, and the hockey community for being by my side. Also, thank you to both medical teams, emergency services, and everyone at St. Mike's Hospital for their exceptional care to help me get back on my feet. I look forward when I can wear the Maple Leaf on my chest again. Until then, I'll be cheering on the boys with Leafs Nations as we compete in the Stanley Cup playoffs. So good to hear that he's okay. All the best to John Tavares. You don't want to see things like that for sure. As well, just also the other thing, Latvia defeated Canada in the World Championships 2-0. Latvia's first win in the tournament. So congratulations to them. It's not the strongest Canadian team this year for obvious reasons. So no one should expect a lot there, but that's also something that we will be there. So we will be back tomorrow after the Montreal Canadiens, Toronto Maple Leafs, Game 2 there. And then we have our Sunday morning episode, and then we'll be doing a recap after Game 3 of Jets and Oilers. So follow Beardy Canucks 03. Tyler is TNOBOLE. So Sean Beardy Canucks 03. Tyler TNOBLE. Gordhouse 09 is Devin. Schneids is Chris Schneids. SCHNEIDZ. I am KVULE. Podcast_hockey. Facebook.com. The Hockey Podcast. YouTube.com. The Hockey Podcast. And thanks everyone. We will talk to you all very soon. Bye for now.